Okay, and what it looks like is there is an A in front. Has there been an A in front before? What does A tell us? From the vertex, how far over, 1, up, how much, or down, how much, okay? And then, in factored form, we're going to have x minus p, x minus q. So there's no squareds or anything like that, they're just two factors, okay? If you were to set those factors equal to 0, so if I were to set x minus p equal to 0 and I were to solve, wouldn't I get x equals p?
Yeah.
Okay, so what that means is the zeros of this, think about this, zeros means where it touches 0. So the reason why the x-intercepts are positive p and positive q is because they make these parentheses 0. That's why. But for us to remember and stay consistent, we could just say x lies, right? Because in the past, hasn't x been a liar? So the characteristics, the x-intercepts are P0 and Q0. P0 and Q0. Okay, I want you to think about this. If I were to graph the x-intercept, so let's take a look at this one, for instance. Help me out here. We're going to do this at the same time. What are the x-intercepts of this one then? 5, 0. Let's put a dot on 5, 0 and negative 1, 0. Okay. Would you agree that when I do the vertex of it, doesn't the vertex have to be halfway in between there because of symmetry? Okay, so in a second when we're going to find the axis, the halfway point, here's what we're going to do. We are going to go halfway in between P and Q. So we are going to do P plus Q divided by 2. P plus Q divided by 2. Hey, in the past, how have we found the other coordinates of the vertex? Yes. Okay, so to find the vertex, plug in the axis. Okay. So, what do I mean by that? And quite honestly, you could count, couldn't you? Can you guys figure out what's halfway in between, this was negative 1, 0 and 5, 0? Well, let's add them. This is negative 1 plus 5 is 4 divided by 2 is 2, right? Okay. So if we wanted to find the vertex, we plug into for x. It's going to be 2 something. Let's plug in 2 for x. Okay? Now, you might be like, what? Do I have to distribute? No, you don't have to distribute. Watch. So I have negative 1/2. I have 2 minus 5. Can't we figure out what 2 minus 5 is? And I have 2 plus 1. All right, here we go. This is negative 1/2 times, what's 2 minus 5? Negative 3 times positive 3. 2 plus 1. Plugged it in. All right, what is that? Positive 9 over 2, right? The negative times negative, which is 4.5. All right, let's graph the vertex. Its coordinates are 2 and 4.5. So here we go. Okay. Now, at this point, can I draw a graph? I could. It opens down, right? But one last thing. We're going to use A to graph points around the vertex. How am I going to do that? What is a in this problem? Negative 1/2. So I'm going to go over 1 down 1/2. Over 1 down 1/2. Over 1 down 1/2. All right, let's draw our parabola. And let's at least label the vertex and the intercept. The vertex was 2, 4.5. And the intercepts were negative 1, 0, and 5, 0. Okay. Let's do one more example together. Okay, so what do I know? I know the x-intercepts. What are the x-intercepts of this one? Negative 2, 0, good, and positive 4, 0. I also know the parabola opens down. Let's put a 1 there. A is negative 1. Correct. Let's go back. How did I say up here to find the axis? X equals P plus Q over 2. P and Q are the x-intercepts. So what am I going to do to find the axis? Negative 2 plus 4 over 2. What is negative 2 plus 4? 2. Negative 2 plus 4 is 2. What's 2 divided by 2? 1. Okay. How am I going to find the vertex? I know the x-coordinate. I am going to plug in this. Plug in 1. Here we go. So I have negative, and I'm going to plug in 1 for x. I have 1 plus 2 and 1 minus 4. Now what you're going to notice is these parentheses are going to always end up being opposites of each other. Do you remember up above it was negative 3 and 3? Okay. Now it's not always 3 and 3, but they're always going to be opposite numbers. What is 1 plus 2? 3. What's 1 minus 4? Negative 3. So I have, don't forget about this, negative, then a 3 times a negative 3. Positive 9. So the vertex was 1, 9. Question so far?
So you would use the thing that you plugged in as the vertex?
Yep, just like we did before. When we wanted to find the vertex, we always did negative b over 2a. Remember that? And then we plugged it in. Now, could we multiply this out and do negative b over 2a? You could. But if it's in factored form, it's just a little bit quicker to average the two x-intercepts together. But to find the y-coordinate, we're still going to do the same thing. We're going to plug it in for x. Okay? So here are the things that I know. Would you put negative 2, 0 on the graph? And would you put 4, 0 on the graph, please? And let's label them. Done. Would you put the vertex on the graph? 1, 9. There is one more thing you could do. Look at number 3 from above. Over 1, down 1. Okay,